life energy. I want to talk about life energy in relation to breatharianism, which is a title that I'm not really fond of because of its limited definition and its popularity of that limited definition, which I think a lot of people have a lot of problems with when trying to make their transition into this lifestyle of non-eating, because we have the definition and we really don't know much about this breatharianism or this life energy. We compare life energy with breatharianism, with breathing, with light and love. This is the general explanation for the phenomena of breatharianism, which is not enough, and this is why people just think they can quit their habits of eating to a state of non-eating. It doesn't work that way. There's a lot more to it, and I hope to bring my perspectives on what those things are. Because of my experiences, my accidental experience, and working with living foods, and how I really wanted to get down into living foods, I'm basically treating this breatharian movement the way I treated a raw vegan movement, in the sense that I have to break up the misinformation with the more practical information regarding a subject. And for instance, my approach with raw veganism is that, okay, if it's scientific evidence that this food is lacking in nutrients, why don't I supplement it? And not only would I supplement it with, of course, natural supplements, organic, raw supplements, but the amount that I should be incorporating into my diet should be tremendous, considering the fact that the soil is nothing how it was millions of years ago. So this is a perspective, an approach that I took to raw veganism, that because I took this approach, I was able to make drastic leaps in understanding what this whole thing is, and that led, honestly, from raw veganism living foodism led to breatharianism as I start understanding raw veganism. So what I'm trying to say is that you have to understand one of these things to get the other, because they're one and the same. You can't just cut off a diet, separate yourself from it, and just decide to start eating or start feeding off of pure life energy when you don't understand life energy. It's not going to work. That's like a kid who has not really completed his proper understanding of a tricycle and thinks he's going to tear up the streets with a Harley. You have to understand one thing before the other. So, what are we talking about when we speak of life energy? We're talking about prana, we're talking about chi, we're talking about chakra, we're talking about yin yang, we're talking about 0-point energy, scalar energy, orgone energy, dark matter, the Holy Ghost. This concept permeates all cultures, civilizations around the world, because it is a base knowledge that human beings should already have a foundation of knowing. But now we have this New Age movement that's very comfortable with one perspective of it, and they believe spirituality should explain spirituality. Unless you know spirituality, unless you really know it, then it needs to be explained and understood. And the problem is with human beings, if we knew spirituality, we wouldn't be in the crap that we're in right now. So it really takes more primitive forms of understanding life, which I think science is a primitive form, because science is below knowingness. If we knew how this life energy worked, then we wouldn't need to study it. But we're below the aspect of knowing, therefore we have to study it and analyze it and break it apart. And this is why people think they know life energy, and it's in them. They should know, but they don't know. And this is why they have lots of problems. This is why Jasmine Heen, bless her soul, was, put to the test in a trial to demonstrate the workability of her lifestyle, and it failed. It was a fiasco, and this is what I think the forces that be, the suppressors, really want. They want to make a mockery of something that's incredible, that's remarkable, a phenomena that's beneficial for humankind. And so, this living on light and love is bullshit. Don't follow it. Don't go with it. This universe is way more aggressive than what you think. And when you look at the animal kingdom and how it survives, you have animals that love, and then you have another aspect where these animals don't love, or this universe is created and put into a loving harmony with each other. But then there's other aspects where the universe uses that same cosmic energy to destroy different parts of itself in order to build new. So this comfortable behavior that we're so accustomed to in this new age movement is really tearing us apart. And I hope that people take more of an aggressive, more logical standpoint and not really think they're being less spiritual by being scientific. Anything that takes you closer to the truth is spiritual. So life energy. I studied the works of loosely studied the works of Nikola Tesla, Einstein, and Wilhelm Reich. And in Einstein, his explanation of this was, the ether, which is another. If I didn't, basically use the ether in that list, ether is another term for life energy. But he used ether as part of his equation to understand how light traveled through space, because he believed that light was traveling on something. It traveled on a path, but on some type of fabric that he called space. And the space he referred to as the ether. Nikola Tesla considered the ether as being related to his discovery of scalar energy. Scalar energy basically means a omnipresent standing wave that is a wave and not a particle, meaning that it's an energy, but it's in a wave form, meaning that it's not separate, it's connected with everything, and it's basically just omnipresent, where a person can tap into this reservoir of energy at any given moment. This was actually the first person I really started looking into, because that was an energy that I felt could really explain breatharianism, other than the idea of breathing, and what I started to research into as far as the electrical aspect of the human body. I thought electricity and breathing and air was all I need to really figure out how the body could be self-sustaining, but I found out that's not true. Because electricity eventually dissipates, and you have to figure out how to get an infinite source to create electricity constantly within the body. The other person was Wilhelm Reich. I really, really felt I got the most, because he had I would say, a longer career than Tesla, and working with this free energy, this ambient energy. And what he discovered is that, again, there's an all-pervasive energy that's all around us. The thing that was unique about him is that he learned how to gather it. Nikola Tesla did too, but he didn't really. There's not really much information on how that was done, because he kept everything in his head and he didn't write it down. Or Wilhelm Reich did. Wilhelm Reich did. He basically written down everything that he was discovering along the way, and he found that this life energy has a unique relationship with physical material, and he used physical material in order to attract it, gather it, collect it, and use it to treat people, and also demonstrate how he powered, or he showed how to power small devices using this life energy. Now, his work really sparked off a lot for me, because when he got into detail about what these materials were that he used to gather and concentrate this energy, I found that it was exactly the same as what our bodies are composed of. The materials that he used is what our body is made of. It's the same materials that our body is created with. Water was a material that he used to gather it. When he used to treat people, he used he created a box called an orgone accumulator. A lot of people know about this already, but for those who don't, it was just a box called the orgone accumulator, which was a device that accumulated life energy, and he would put his patients in order to treat them. And it was outstanding result. He got outstanding results, and he even took his discoveries to Albert Einstein, which basically responded and said that this would be a bombshell in physics, because it was a real thing. And the way he did is he created a box which was composed of alternating layers of metals, plastics, or other organic material. And when I thought about this, when I thought about the metals, and I thought about plastics, and I thought about water, I thought about the human body. The body is composed of 60, 70, 80%, whatever the ratio is, but it's composed of mostly water. Then the body is also composed of metals: calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium. All these are different metals. They're soft metals, but nevertheless they are metals, and our bodies run off of these metals. Our bodies need these metals. Then there was plastic, and I thought about plastic in relation to the human body. I was like, well, plastic is oil, is a byproduct of oil, and oil is a fat. And our body is composed of plastics. It's composed of fats. Our brain is composed of fats, mostly fat, and every cell is walled with a biphospholipid layer of fat. And I thought this was unique because that means that our body has the capability of holding in this wave of energy. Now, when looking more into the characteristics of this life energy, it can be collected, right, and gathered, and it can be constantly accumulated. Now, there are people who meditate, there are people who do raw veganism, and both of these people don't impress me because they both die at the same age as any other person, even living a shitty life. They just probably die a little bit more comfortably and without disease, but nevertheless their life expectancy is the same. Whether or not they choose to or don't, they just do. Also, their physical feats, so the things that they can physically do, some of this stuff is amazing, but it's not really something that wows me too much. From researching this life energy, you realize that this whole universe is composed of it. And in fact, when you look into dark energy, which is the same as life energy, which is the same as orgone energy, is the same as scalar energy, prana, chi, this universe, our universe, is composed of this. And scientists say that our universe is constantly expanding. Well, the reason is, if you look into this, the characteristics of this life energy, it is massless in its form. It is massless, and actually it is a precursor of all other sub-energies that exist in his universe. Any energy you can name, light, love, whatever you want to call it, dense matter, molecules itself, all types of different residual forms of energies spawn from this primordial energy. And this is how the universe is created, because this thing is massless and infinite and exists outside of space and time. So when you look at the characteristics of these things, then one has to consider, how cosmic are the current representatives of this prana, ether, energy, so on and so forth. I don't care about your claims and how calm you are. I care about what it is that you can do, because if the universe is composed of life energy and we are composed of it and our bodies run off of it, then our bodies should be doing cosmic things like creating in a massive way, and also destroying in a massive way, and also, you know, being able to harness just the elements and the forces around us in a cosmic way. And I've yet to really see this, other than people who meditate under a tree for many years, and that's their only accomplishment, is probably, you know, sitting in one spot. I don't want to sit in one spot. I want to move around and live my life while taking these attributes with me. So this life energy is something more than what people sum it up to be. It is potentially something that can push human beings to a new wave of potential, and we need to look at it a little bit with a little bit more science and less with comfort within its current definition. And again, when looking into this life energy in relation to material and how it is attracted to this material, then we can think with this and use the material for our own bodies to attract it and accumulate it and have it flow through our very vessels. This is how I came across it accidentally, is because I was taking in these nutrients, which are basically just metals and non-metals, you know, from the fats to the vitamins and the minerals. These things are the very same thing that Wilhelm Reich had spoke of, and I took these things non-stop for many days until I benefited, and the benefit was something I've never experienced before, because outside of just the electrical conductivity of these nutrients, these nutrients have a multifaceted characteristic to it. It not only supports electrical energy, which is a denser form of energy, but it also facilitates the attraction of life energy towards certain a certain point in space. So anyway, 15 minutes. This video is way too long, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I will make the next video very soon. Thank you.